Well, we're all about federal government's pay rise proposal for top political leaders. And of course, some say it's a necessity or misplaced priority. And of course, joining me in the studio where we have very robust, discussants. Starting from my immediate left, I have a lecturer from Ambrose Allen University, a political economist, a social media influencer, and the person of Ibrahim Momo. Big thanks for joining, Ibrahim.
Thanks for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
It's always a beautiful time having you on set.
The feeling is mutual.
All right. So next is a seasoned legal practitioner, and he is Emmanuel Obakwalo. Thanks for joining, Emmanuel.
Pretty good morning to Nigerians. Good morning, Philip.
We also have a legal luminary joining us via Zoom, and he is Matthew Ederase. Good morning, Matthew.
Thank you for having me, Phillips.
All right, well, I think I choose to start from you, Matthew. We have this challenge where there's been much talk about the need for the government to set priorities right. And the development as regards the call for a pay increase for the office of the president, the deputy, or the vice, and of course governors and the deputies, cutting across even to the National Assembly, has been said by the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission Chairman, Shehu Mohammed, where he stated categorically that from 2008 till date, there has not been increase or review of that, and that the president receives 1.5 million naira, while the ministers receive less than a million, and there is need to encourage them in doing the business of, our national heritage. What's your reaction looking at the present economic realities that's also competing with that divide?
That's a policy decision, or rather the request by the elected public office holders to hike their salaries is provocative in the face of the present economic reality, especially looking at the fact that the minimum wage has been described by the United States government as not a living wage. It's impoverishing the people of Nigeria, Nigerian workers. And the NSC has cried over time and clamored for salary increase to enable them measure up with the economic reality of the Nigeria present circumstances. And the government have said repeatedly that they cannot afford it. That even the excuse they gave was that it even wasn't the inflation rate. But having said that, how will they canvass a different argument to deny the workers their rightful entitlement? And now, in the same way, they now argue that their own pay cannot match with the economic reality of the country. Are we living in alternative economy? Are the leaders and the led living in different set of economy? If the answer is no, it will amount to sheer hypocrisy and outright deceit and insensitivity on the part of government to be asking for more pay at that time telling the workers not to ask for more. We should not forget that the people in power have access to a lot of income, money, funds outside their regular pay, which the workers are not entitled to. They have no access to. You don't want to tell me that the president rely on 1.5 million naira salary to function. There are several other means of access to funds, public funds, by these people in power. If the salary of minister is what they are stating, if that is all the minister relies on, there will be no fight to finish approach to access the office of the minister. So we all know that they are entitled to, or they have access to hundreds of millions of naira, if not even in dollars. So they should not deceive the people. They do not even deserve to earn what they currently earn, because they should make sacrifice. We expect them to even have their salary, cut their salary, to make sacrifice, because the policies came from them. If they make the policy that is causing serious economic hardship, they should lead by example. They should demonstrate that they are ready to make sacrifice by even reducing their salary, cutting their salary. That is why it's obtainable in a decent climate. If the people are not able to live outside the arrangements, they must not create an arrangement for themselves that will make the impact of their policy not to have any effect on them. That will be fraudulent on their parts.
Well, let's get your thoughts, Ibrahim Momo. You are an economist, a political economist, and that serves it right for us to have your thoughts in that regard. Do you concur with him? Because looking at from the background, from 2008 till date, some say what is good for the goose is good for the gander. We've had reviews, by the public, by the Revolution Mobilization and Allocation Fiscal Monetary Policies Commission on these issues. So can you say that that of the political top leaders should be treated differently?
Well, it's a bit of a complex issue. It is inappropriate. Just like the Academic Staff Union are complaining that 2009 agreements that we have entered into with the federal government have still not been implemented in 2025. If that is to be taken as a valid argument, then it is appropriate to also say that the salaries and wages and emoluments of public office holders that were fixed in 2008 are not realistic today. These are the basic, these are the background. And then the idea by the RAMFAC, the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, to ask for a review is not without basis. The first thing is that they argue that this time lag has been there. 2008 to 2025 is about 17 years. In 17 years, nothing has been done. That's a valid argument to make. They go to make an argument about the fact that based on the responsibilities, and demands of the offices that they hold, that they ought to earn much more than what they are earning today. And then the third argument they bring up is that it can also be a reason to dissuade people from corruption. That if you pay them an appropriate wage, it could also help to dissuade or the penchant for corruption. But that's how far the argument for it goes. There is a much more important, necessary argument to make. In the health sector in Nigeria, there's what we call the relativity. So if you're paying nurses, medical life scientists, X or Y amount of money, you should pay doctors a Z amount of money. The public office holders, and of course, the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, forget that the highest office in the land, the one that gives a developer person appointment, is the office of the citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The arguments about a living wage for political office holders must extend necessarily to the argument for a living wage for the office of the citizens, those who are holding that office. What is the minimum wage in Nigeria for the average Nigerian citizen? I know it is a different body, National Salaries and Wages Commission, that fixes the salaries. Of course, even that's a political decision, because ultimately, the decision of how much is earned is determined by the present governors and the labor unions in a tripartite arrangement where the workers, the federal and state governments, And of course, the organized private sector sit down together and decided on a wage. It was in this country, just a few months ago, that the workers were asking for a minimum wage of 652,000 naira, if I'm not mistaken. And the government said that they cannot afford to pay more than 70,000 naira minimum wage. Where did the money come from? Where did it come from? To now want to pay the president, who is already earning almost 21 times the national minimum wage. 21 times, 2,100% more than national minimum wage. Where does the money now to now pay the president an increased salary? If the money was not there to pay the workers, the Nigerian, the helpless, the suffering, the poverty-stricken Nigerian workers, the question to ask, where is the money now going to come from to pay the political office holders? Or was it that there was money, but the money was not meant to be paid to the Nigerian workers, but to the political office holders? The second argument against the issue of an increase of the salaries and emoluments of political officers, that it is even a corruption in itself. If you are asking Nigerian citizens to tighten their belts, and they tighten their belts, shouldn't the person asking you to tighten your belt also tighten his own? Shouldn't the government, with all sense of responsibility, because we expect our government are responsible people, shouldn't the government that is asking the citizens to tighten their belts also tighten its belts? Or is it that do what I say and not what I do? The third argument, maybe just the final one before you move on, is the fact that the salaries of a public office holder is not what the salary, is not what they earn. If you are, in fact, I'm even aware that I'm hearing that even heads of parastatals and local government chairmen, not talk of governors and presidents, and even ministers, they earn what they call, quote unquote, security votes. Since they started earning the security votes, Nigerians have become more insecure. So it means that maybe the security was about them. And that security vote is the single highest drain on the public treasury.
Okay.
So if you are deceiving us that, well, what they are earning is small, are you factoring into it the security votes of these persons? This is the question I think Ramfac needs to answer.
Thank you. Well, let's get to you, Emmanuel, because the argument raised by the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission is really hitting, the day. Do you have a different thought in this regard?
It's unfortunate that we find ourselves in this kind of quagmire. When I hear people say that this president is a strategist, this is one of the attributes he has.
It's not about the president.
Listen.
It wasn't the president that raised it.
Listen.
It was Mohammed Shehu that raised it, the chairman
he
of
who
the
pays,
Revenue
he who pays the piper dictates the tune of the dance.
Okay.
This is a shared display of incompetence, lack of focus, and a shambolic thought. Very shambolic. Very unnecessary thought. And the same government who once upon a time argued that they cannot afford even 70,000 naira. As I speak with you, some states are not paying 70,000 naira as minimum wage. Some states. And now somebody is coming up with an argument for increase of salary or wage or living wage, whatever adjective they want to use to color it for political office holders. Whereas in the right sense, some of these political office holders were once upon a time governors who served for 2 terms. Until now, till date, they are entitled to pension. Where even the pension of those who labored for 35 years is not guaranteed. So, are we really citizens of this country? Every day I wake up to discover that George Owen's piece, Animal Farm, is a critical description of the Nigerian state, where all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. Like my co-panelist said here, the office of the citizens of Nigeria is the highest office. But here we are. Nigerians cannot even make any idea. Nigerians are in pains. Do you know that this one of the country in the world where anything goes? A country where an elephant will fly, nobody will ask. In fact, I will tell you that, oh, it is just a big bird. So we say it's a vulture. And here we are. Somebody comes up with an idea on how to increase when the president, the vice president, the governors, the deputy governors are entitled to security votes. Security votes that we are not even aware of how much they earn every month. Like he said, despite the security votes, Nigerians are more insecure while they are secured. Now, you are talking, bringing an idea that their salaries should be increased. I don't know where in the world that this kind of thing happens.
All right.
Save here. And the truth is this. They are tempting Nigerians to react. As soonest Nigerians will react. If they like, let them be gathering money for 2027 general elections. Because they have made up their mind that they must come back, whether or not Nigerians like it. Even with this hardship, deliberate poverty on Nigerians. They visit Nigerians with so much hardship, so much pain. Why they themselves, they go on waste. This wasteful, this thought is dead on arrival. It's a wasteful one. I do not think that at this time that a country will be reasoning that the best policy or the best idea is to increase the salary of public office holders. I do not think so. Nowhere in the world. Where you tell the citizens to tighten their belt. It's unfortunate.
Well, thank you very much, Emmanuel Obakwalo. Over to you, Matthew. Let's get your thoughts. Do you say that there should be a perpetual stay on review of the political office holders' salaries? Or are you saying that there's something that should be done about the economy or should be fed by the citizens before they even propose an increase?
Let's look at this from this angle. If you happen to be a shareholder in any company, you will understand that bumper dividend is paid when the company makes profits, makes bumper profits. If the company is running at a loss, shareholders are not even entitled, they don't expect any dividend, or you do not benefit from failure and losses. How an economy will be struggling, and the shareholders are now asking for a higher dividend. It's an absurdity. It doesn't have any economic explanation. You do not have bumper harvest when the crops are not doing, when crops have failed. If the public office holders of Nigeria, who are the policy makers, who are the managers of our economy and our collective fortune, all they need to do at this critical time of our economic crisis is to even reduce their salary, their pay. You cannot be asking for more when there is less. According to them, by their own declaration and pronouncement, the economy is not doing well. That is why they are saying inflation is overtaking their income. If inflation is overtaking their income, what they need to do is to fight the inflation, not to hike their income. Because inflation that is galloping will still overtake whatever upward review of their salary that they are able to make. So the best and permanent and logical approach is to make sure they fix the economy and tame the inflation from jumping and skyrocketing. Because if the inflation rate is brought down and the value of the naira goes up, why will anybody be asking for more salary in the first place when little money can pursue more goods and services? It's only when so much money is pursuing very few services and goods that the money in your hand becomes valueless, and it's no longer able to achieve what it ought to have achieved if the inflation wasn't even there. For instance, if the price of vehicles, motor vehicles, imported vehicles, building material, and other essentials crashes, the money we have right now in our hands will purchase more goods. And there wouldn't be need for any upward review of salary or even emolument of even both the public workers and civil servants. So the government is trying to lay the cart before the horse. Instead of them to fix the economy and arrest the inflation, they want to worsen it by hiking their own salaries. This was the argument they canvassed against increase of worker salary, that it worsen inflation rates. How they now want to circumvent that situation and now operate outside their rules is a drama that should not be taken seriously. It's a comedy, and they should not joke with a very serious economic situation, which their policy created in the first place. The policies that brought about this inflation were not made by the ordinary Nigerians. They were made by the government of the day. So if they know the policy they made is wrong, they should reverse it. There is no shame in stepping backward when you know you are going in the wrong direction. By this decision, they have admitted that their policies were wrong. And the best thing to do is to get it right. They should ensure that the exchange rate of the naira is brought to a level that is reasonable. This one that the naira is hovering around over 1,500 naira. It's not healthy for the economy. That is what is driving inflation, if they don't know. If they cannot arrest that situation, then there's nothing they do now that will solve the problem. Instead, it will compound it. Because more money in the hands of public office holders will drive more inflation. And it will cause more problems for the ordinary people who are not able to have increase in their own wages and income. Because they are pro the same market. They are living under the same economic situation. It is like taking oxygen away from the average Nigerian and supplying extra oxygen to those in power. Society cannot survive without its citizens. Leadership is to give direction and to create an environment for the welfare of the citizens. If they fail in this regard, why must we reward failure? Increase the size of public office holders in the face of economic hardship occasioned by their policies that were not carefully thought out amount to rewarding failure.
All right.
It means failure is an attractive venture.
Thank you so much, Matthew.
That should not be condoned or encouraged. It's provocative.
Thank you, Matthew. Just as you said, fix the economy because we have inflation, so there's need to fix that and tackle inflation headlong. But let's see what your thoughts are because you've been against this also. We have a panel that is already against it. But let's look at the aspect where it's one thing for us to say it here in the studio. It's another for them to implement this. Do you see the people or the government as helpless? Or how do we tackle an issue where the governed are saying no to it and they are saying that they shouldn't do this, but in the long run it happens? So how can we tackle this aspect where, you know, the government seems not to have a grip on the policies of the government as regards emoluments and salary increase for political office holders?
No, I think the point is that where we are now is at the proposal stage. It is the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission chairman that is making this proposal.
Yeah.
He is not the final say on the issue of the rebasing or fixing of the emoluments of public office holders.
But are you sure he's the one making the proposal, or is been?
No, I don't.
As we can see, is the one making the proposal.
I don't deal on conjecture.
But there could be some widow dressing.
No, I don't deal on conjecture. It's what I see that I speak to.
Exactly.
Yeah, because even if he's been railroaded, as it were, in the way you are suggesting, it ultimately is him that is being railroaded, that is one that is presenting the information, and there is a process for the review. It's not that because he has proposed it, then it is a fact. It's going to be, no. Because, of course, there has to be the National Assembly assenting to this proposal eventually. And, of course...
Will they assent against what they will profit from?
You know, I think it's... Ours is to make the point, because they are in office to serve the people, ordinarily. That is what everybody who is holding political office is doing, is to serve the people. But if they prove, because sometimes you could take people for granted until it is too late. I've seen, with all due respect, sitting presidents, sitting governors, even in this country, who have lost elections. The current Minister of Defense, former Zamfara State Governor, he was a one-time, he contested for governor and lost. Even former Minister of Solid Minerals, Fayemi, Kayode Fayemi, even the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, as sitting president, lost election. So it is not, it might be funny, people think that the people's opinion don't count. But the reality is that those who have made those mistakes in the past have had cause to regret making those mistakes.
Okay, but the aspect of security vote you also raised. Some have said that, well, we still are not able to tackle this where that can be addressed because it's not part of the budget.
Yes, and it is not even, it's not part of the Appropriation Act. It is not fixed. You know, it's not appropriated.
So why should it be?
No, you know what is even funny? When it comes to the allowances, wages, and emoluments of public office holders, at the minimum, they get 18 different kinds of allowances. 18. The average worker, if you check the salary pay slip, he gets about 3 to 5, sometimes 6 allowances. But the political office holder gets some 18, some as much as 27 different allowances. I could name some of them. There are some who get newspaper allowance. They get hardship allowance. They get constituency allowance. They get health allowance. They get travel allowances.
Wow.
They get furniture allowances. They get, accommodation allowance. They get
entertainment allowance.
Entertainment allowance. They get all balance of these persons are talking about increasing their minimum, their salaries. They only get this, and all these allowances are based to what we are calling the salary that they are earning. Meaning that somebody could be, sometimes when it comes to constituency allowance, they don't even constituency allowance. When it comes to there's a particular allowance they receive upon assumption of office, 300% their salary. One allowance among the 18 to 25, 27 allowance that they earn. One of them is 300%. So they are also, at the end of the day, what you are calling the salary is about 50 or 40 or sometimes 30 times what they are earning. So at the end of the day, you want to ask the question, this Mohammed Idris, if I forget his name correctly, the chairman of RAMFAC, the question is, does he even understand what he's talking about? He clearly does not.
Mohammed Shehu.
Mohammed Shehu, thank you very much. For me, it is first of all a statement or a proposal in ignorance. He does not actually know what these people earn. He doesn't know. If he knew, he wouldn't say that. Secondly, it's an insensitive statement. It's insensitive because he didn't realize that just not too long ago, this same government was telling us that the economy cannot afford paying above 7,000 naira. And then thirdly, it is actually a step that shows the level of incompetence.
Insensitivity.
No, that was the first point. Incompetence here has to do with the fact that why are we in this quagmire? Why are we in this situation? Why are we in this position where there's a need to even increase salary? It is because of the policies that have been put in place by those you now want to reward with an increase. So incompetence in the context that if it was poorly, if the economy was better run, would we need to increase salaries? No.
Okay.
So if you are saying that, okay, the reward for incompetence is a salary increase for those incompetent public office holders, then I think that even he himself deserves some reprimand.